Subcommittee on Federal Lands will come to order. Without objection, the chair is authorized to declare a recess of the subcommittee at any time. The subcommittee is meeting today to hear testimony on the state of our nation's federal forests. I ask unanimous consent that the following members be allowed to participate in today's hearing from the dais: the gentlelady from Wyoming, Ms. Hageman, and the gentleman from California, Mr. Min. Without objection, so ordered. Under Committee Rule 4F, any oral opening statements at hearings are limited to the chairman and the ranking minority member. I therefore ask unanimous consent that all other members' opening statements be made part of the hearing record if they are submitted in accordance with Committee Rule 3, Parent O. Without objection, so ordered. I will now recognize myself for an opening statement. I want to begin by welcoming Chief Tom Schultz to the subcommittee. Chief Schultz, thank you for being here today. Your leadership, along with the leadership of President Trump and Secretary Rollins, is a breath of fresh air. We appreciate you serving in this role and look forward to your insights as we discuss the importance of making our nation's federal forests healthy and resilient again. I would add productive. Folks, it's time to get back to basics. We know what needs to be done to stop the current wildfire and forest health crisis afflicting our federal lands. As you can see from the chart behind me, when we stopped managing our forests, wildfires increased exponentially. During the previous administration, billions of dollars were spent running the Forest Service into the ground instead of getting people out into the field to do the work. Millions of precious taxpayer dollars were wasted writing unnecessary reports on old growth or settling lawsuits with radical environmental NGOs. In fact, despite receiving $12 billion under the so-called Inflation Reduction Act and infrastructure bill, the Forest Service actually reduced the number of acres it planned to manage to address wildfire risks. I imagine my colleagues on the other side of the aisle will spend most of their time today claiming that the sky is falling due to proposed budget cuts at the Forest Service. But I want us to be very clear-eyed about the fiscal house that Chief Schultz inherited from the Biden-Harris administration. I'd like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record an article from E&E News from January of this year entitled, "Litany of Problems Awaits Forest Service Leaders in 2025. Without objection, so ordered. This article stated that the Forest Service enters the new year with an array of headaches, worsening wildfires, destructive storm damage to southeast forests, and a budget gap so deep that the agency's stopped hiring seasonal workers to help maintain its 193 million acres of forest. And if history is a guide, Forest Service Chief Randy Moore will soon hand off those challenges to a successor. So you'll forgive me if I'm skeptical about what my friends on the other side of the aisle will say about budget cuts or staffing reductions when political leadership under the Biden-Harris administration blew a $750 million hole in this agency's budget that was so bad they had to freeze hiring in September of 2024. Luckily, those days are over. Under the leadership of President Trump, we are returning fiscal sanity to all levels of government and focusing on this agency's core mission, managing our forests. This change in leadership couldn't be coming at a more pivotal moment. Improving the health of our nation's forests and breaking the cycle of catastrophic wildfire are among the most urgent issues facing our federal lands. The scale of this crisis cannot be overstated. Year after year, communities, particularly in the West, are forced to endure the devastation of wildfires, continuing to grow in size and severity. Fires that would undeniably be mitigated with better forest management. Encouragingly, the Trump administration has taken immediate steps to begin to turn the tide against this crisis and restore health to our nation's extremely volatile lands. In March, the immediate expansion of American timber production executive order was issued directing the Forest Service to use tools such as Good Neighbor Authority, stewardship contracting, and Tribal Forest Protection Act agreements to increase timber production and sound forest management. This executive order also directed the Forest Service to increase timber targets, streamline permitting for timber production, and remove or revise bureaucratic impediments delaying work from getting done. In June, the Trump administration announced that it will be rescinding the Clinton-era roadless rule, which has been one of the main impediments to responsible forest management for over 20 years. This misguided rule has effectively locked up more than 58 million acres across the nation from active management. These restrictions severely limit the Forest Service from carrying out necessary mitigation treatments, and impede access for firefighters as they battle wildland fires. The President's budget proposal offers a strategic restructuring of federal wildfire management and a needed reorientation of the Forest Service back to producing timber, providing recreational access, and supporting its multiple use mandate across 193 million acres of public land. While these goals are encouraging, it will be important to ensure funding decisions actually result in more active management, especially when it comes to hazardous fuels reduction. I'd also like to note that the Trump administration's fiscal year 2026 budget requests $6.55 billion for wildland fire management, a roughly $250 million increase over fiscal year 2025 enacted levels. But as I stated earlier, money alone cannot solve this problem. I hope we can also discuss today how this committee can provide additional legislative tools and relief through legislation like the Fix Our Forests Act to streamline environmental reviews and reduce frivolous lawsuits. I want to once again thank Chief Schultz for being here. We are committed to working with you and your agency on common sense solutions, and we look forward to hearing more from you today. With that, I will now recognize Ranking Member